So, good day everyone. I am Kenneth Gregorio and I will be discussing our lecture about education. So, first let us define what education is. So, education refers to that deliberately and consciously planned process of systematic instruction, schooling, or training in preparation for life or some particular tasks. To the moralist, education is preparation for the life hereafter. So, furthermore, education is also the act or process of imparting or acquiring general knowledge, developing the powers of reasoning and judgment, and generally of preparing oneself or others intellectually for mature life. So, sociologists and anthropologists viewed education as the process in school or beyond of transmitting a society's cultural knowledge, skills, values, and behaviors. So every society seeks to educate its young members to prepare them for adult roles. So etymologically speaking, the term education has its root from the Latin e or ex, which signifies what is inside is brought out, and docere, which means to draw out, to bring forth, to lead, elicit, develop from the latent, rudimentary, or potential condition. So education, therefore, is the process by which one draws out what is within a person. So it helps a person to externalize what is internal and present within him. So education assumes that a person is not a complete blank sheet or empty space, but rather that he has the potentialities and experiential meanings that can be brought out, used, and developed by means of educational processes. So education may be viewed in different perspectives, the formal, informal, and non-formal. So first is the formal. So formal education is the instruction given in school, hence it is often called schooling. So this is the education system with its hierarchical structures and chronological successions of grades from primary to university. In the end, the learners may earn a diploma, a certificate, or degree as a mark of their success over the years. So this formal education is what we are receiving right now. So it is the structured learning process that takes place in schools, colleges, universities, and any other educational institution. So it follows a set curriculum with specific goals and objectives outlined by the educational authorities. So the second one is the informal education. So this is the lifelong process of learning while people do about their daily lives. So each individual acquires knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values through everyday experience, through the educational influences and resources of the geographical, social, and cultural environments, and through the influence of the mass communication media. So it happens naturally through everyday life experiences, interaction with others, and self-directed activities. So this informal education can take place in various settings, including homes, communities, and workplaces, and through activities such as volunteering, hobbies, and travel. The next one is the non-formal education. So this comprises all those education activities that are organized outside the established formal system and designed for identifiable clientele and educational objectives such as those for out-of-school youths and illiterate adults. So these programs might include workshops, training sessions, or community-based classes designed to teach specific skills or knowledge. These programs are often flexible and accessible, catering to diverse learners who may not thrive in formal education environments. So in the Philippines, the example of this is the ALS or the Alternative Learning System. So a true and liberating education is one where the teacher is like a midwife, as envisioned by Socrates. So the midwife draws the human or the infant from the human, which is the mother. A teacher should be like that. He should draw from inside that person what is already within that person. And Socrates called this as the meiotic method. So Socrates describes teachers as midwives. So he believes that the role of the teacher is to assist in the birth of ideas rather than imparting knowledge directly to the students. So in the Socratic method, the teacher engages in the dialogue with his or her student and guiding them through a series of questions to help them uncover their own understanding and insights towards the topic. So rather than in providing answers, the teacher encourages students to think deeply or critically and challenge assumptions, and examine their beliefs. So the teacher and the learners are mutually engaged in the production of knowledge rather than in the consumption and reproduction of pre-digested knowledge. So now we are going to talk about the historical perspective of the Philippine educational system. Education in the Philippines has undergone several stages of developments from the pre-Spanish times to the present. In meeting the needs of the society, education serves as focus of emphasis or priorities of the leadership at certain periods in our national struggle as a race. So, as early as in pre-Magellanic times, education was informal, unstructured, and devoid of methods. So, meaning children were provided more vocational trainings rather than the academic trainings, which includes the 3 R's, which are the reading, writing, and arithmetic. So it were provided by their parents and in the houses of their tribal tutors. So during the pre-Spanish system, the tribal tutors were replaced by Spanish missionaries. So education was religion-oriented. It was for the elite. So the education was for the elite, especially in the early years of Spanish colonization. And access to education by the Filipinos was later liberalized through the enactment of the Educational Decree of 186, which provided for the establishment of at least one primary school for boys and girls in each town under the responsibility of municipal government, and the establishment of formal schools for male teachers under the supervision of the Jesuits. Primary instruction was free and the teaching of Spanish was compulsory. So education during the period of pre-Spanish was inadequate, suppressed, and controlled. So the next one is the American system. So the schools maintained by Spain for more than 3 centuries were closed for the time being, but they were opened by the Secretary of Interior of the Americas. So the Burgos Institute in Malolos, the Military Academy at Malolos, and the Literary University of the Philippines were established. A system of free and compulsory elementary education was established by the Malolos Constitution. So free public school system during the first decade of American rule in the Philippines was established upon the recommendation of the Sherman Commission. So, free primary instruction that trained the people for the duties of citizenship and a vocation was enforced by the Taft Commission per instruction of President McKinley. So, the chaplains or the priests and non-commissioned officers were assigned to teach using the English as the medium of instruction. So, the high school system supported by the provincial governments, special education institutions, School of Arts and Trades, agricultural schools and commerce, and marine institutes were established. Philippine legislature approved Act number 1870, which created for the University of the Philippines. So the last one is the Japanese system. So Japanese educational policies were embodied in Military Order number 2 in 1942. Under the Japanese regime, the teaching of Tagalog, Philippine history, and character education was reserved for Filipinos. So the Japanese-sponsored republic created the Ministry of Education. And love for work and dignity of labor was emphasized during the Japanese rule in the Philippines. And on February 1945, the Department of Instruction was made part of the Department of Public Instruction. So let us now see the timeline of the changes of the name of Department of Education. So in 1947, the Department of Instruction was changed to Department of Education. In 1972, it became the Department of Education and Culture. In 1978, it was changed to Ministry of Education and Culture. In 1982, it was changed to Ministry of Education. In 1987, it became the Department of Education, Culture and Sports, or DEX, and remained unchanged until the CHED, or the Commission on Higher Education, which is there to supervise the tertiary degree, and the TESDA, which is there to supervise the non-degree technical vocational programs, were established. So, At last, in August 2001, DEX was changed to Department of Education by the virtue of the Governance of Basic Education Act. So, also included in the Governance of Basic Education Act was the redefinition of the roles of field offices such as the regional office, district office, division office, and the schools. So, that's all. Thank you so much for listening.